Hello. If you've discovered this video, then you're probably here for the M1 helmets that I'm going to talk about today because around YouTube, especially when I was new to collecting and I started looking, um, there was a lot of confusion in things. So I'm making a video so that people didn't make the same mistakes I did. So if you're watching, please subscribe. It would really help me out, boost my confidence, and will let me post more. So, the M1 helmet, essentially this. If you're here, you're definitely here for this. Now, the first thing you're going to look at, so let's say you're at an antique mall and you discover an M1 helmet. The first thing you're going to want to do is look at this part right here. If there is not a seam right here, then that is not a actual World War II helmet, because they put seams in front of here, and after, very late in the war, they started not doing that, and then post-war, they stopped doing that. You're also going to want to look inside. There will definitely be a heat stamp. You probably can't see it. Mine says 701. You're also going to want to look at this, the chin strap. The chin strap is very important because it'll help you date when the helmet was made. They use different chin straps for different eras, like this one right here. This chin strap is World War II era and Korea era. And so, I'm filming this very quickly. I don't got a lot of time. So, you got your helmet shell. Cool. You're also going to want to watch out for fakes. And you're also going to want to see if the bail, this part right here, if it is actually not swiveling and it's fixed inside the bail, that's a World War II one. You should definitely buy it if you have the money. Now, I bought this. It didn't have a liner inside of it, so I bought a liner. And, I went online and I found the cheapest thing I could. A lot of you people will. So I went on Amazon and I found this. An M1 helmet liner. It's a reproduction. Now, here's how to easily tell a reproduction liner from an original liner. You're going to take the liner and you're going to look inside. This is an original liner. This is an actual liner made for the U.S. military. You can see the inside of the liner is like khaki. And you can also tell kind of by the way the helmets feel. The original ones are made out of fiberglass, and this one is made out of plastic. So, the inside of this, it's just green, like the outside. Now, when you order these ones off of Amazon or whatever, they're made in China, so they're not made to be an extremely long-lasting durable, and extremely long-lasting, and I found that out after a while of having the shell inside of the helmet. Now, when you first get it, it does fit. I also had a problem with shipping. It took a really long time to ship here, like an unbearable amount of time. And so, after a while, I've discovered that, I don't know if this is usual for all helmet liners, for production or not, but eventually, after a while, the helmet shell will just fall out. You can fix this, though, by taking maybe a sock or something like that. Something, something to wedge, like a cloth or something, to wedge itself between the helmet liner and the shell. That will work. You can also, oh yeah, this. So when people go around, they buy helmet shells, and some of them, they don't fit. Yeah, different helmet shells have different depths, different sizes. Now, in the 1980s, when Kevlar was being introduced, they needed a stopgap liner for their helmet shells until Kevlar could be introduced. So they brought these in. These are very late. These are like the last helmet liners you would have seen with an M1, at least in the U.S. military. So when I got this for Christmas, I tried to put it in, and what happened? It's not, as you can see, it's not going in all the way. That's because these liners were supposed to do that. Now, if you're doing a very late 1980s, 1970s like late 70s, early 80s impression, you will definitely want to try this. But if you're doing a Vietnam or World War II impression, you are definitely going to want to be careful and stay clear of these, unless you really want to get one. They do have their kind of quirks to them. I guess you could say if you do this, it does look cool and things like that. Now, when you buy an M1 helmet, you want to also check for key details, like this one. This one was my grandfather's riot helmet from the police force, and as you can see, that his serial number, his unit number was put on the back, 409. So when you get an M1 helmet, you want to look around for specifics. You want to look around, see if you can find any heat stamps, liner markings, things like that. You also want to make sure that when you do, you're going to want to check the liner, because this happened. If you find an M1 helmet and you find a rusting shell, you're going to want to not keep the liner in there for an extremely long period of time, because this has happened, unfortunately. And the liners are supposed to have stamping inside of them. I don't really know about that, though. This one doesn't. This one actually does. It's just on the liner. It's just on the liner band. You definitely can't see that. Yeah, you can probably see writing right there. You're just gonna want to check things like that. Now, here's a really good thing you can do with your M1 helmets. If you're doing a Battle of the Bulge impression, or a very late, if you're doing a very late USG, like a winter USGI impression, you want to put winter camo, say, in your helmet. What you can do is you can take a shirt and you just lay it down. You take your helmet, the shell, and you put it in the middle of it. Then you take the shirt and you wrap it inside the helmet like this. The shirt then becomes a helmet covering. Me personally, I don't have any helmet coverings. I plan to get some, but I don't have them right now. Now, you're going to want to watch out for the sides. They like to pop out. Then you take your liner, and good news, if the liner's gotten loose, you can just shove that bad boy in there, and it will actually fit. Now, because depending on the size of the shirt, and depending just on different conditions, the helmet liner may not fit in there all the way. But if you give it just a little bit of push, or you adjust it just a little, you can eventually manipulate it to get in there. So you've got winter camo. You can probably do this with any type of helmet. You just gotta shove it in. Now, another thing you could do for the Battle of the Bulge, hold on, is grab these winter caps. These were issued to soldiers very late. I mean, not very late. These were issued to soldiers during the war to protect themselves from the cold. Now, what USGIs would do is they would take their helmets, or at least the shells, and they would put them over the thing. It actually fits quite snug. And so you can take the flaps off. Because I've seen this in a lot of movies. You may even see a few examples in the movie Fury, if you've ever watched it. You can take the flaps, put them down, do it like this, and then just fold it all over like this. It looks very weird, and it doesn't look comfortable, but it is very comfortable. I would put the shell over it, not necessarily the I would put the shell over it, not necessarily the liner, because it fits in the shell very well. So, yeah, I know this looks weird. I'm looking at it. It's strange. So, I believe... Oh, yes. Post-war helmets. Like, things that were given, to... So, after the war, when a lot of European countries were rebuilding, a lot of them had problems with things like, they needed to rebuild their military since the Germans had essentially used up everything they had to try to win. So what they did is they were given licenses to build M1 helmets or helmet copies. How you can tell if it's a European copy, probably like a Belgian or an Austrian, is the shell will have a liner stuck inside. Like, this is a different, almost sort of a different helmet in itself. You can wear that liner separately, like a parade or an MP helmet, or like a medic impression. And they would just create liners that would go inside the shell, kind of like Russian, German, or British helmets. Like every helmet that's not an American helmet. And there's something, I think a Belgian, maybe, is either Belgian or somewhere. Instead of making it out of zinc, manganese, like the M1 helmets were made, they made them out of a magnetic material. So if you ever have an M1 helmet and you know, in a magnet, and you try to put a magnet on it and it goes on to the helmet, you don't have an American helmet, you have a European helmet. But that's still pretty cool. That's about it for this video. This was made on a very short notice because I'm still new to YouTube and I'm still figuring out how to edit videos. So please don't hate me in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe. It's going to be fun posting on YouTube. Hopefully I can get subscribers. And then if I get enough, I might show you the wonderful collection that's behind me. You guys will definitely want to see that if you're a World War II or overall just a military or collector's fan. This is Apollo Bravo signing off. Opa.